Hello guys, today I want to present you this car panel assembly. Uh, so how does it work? We have a car panel mesh, obviously. That's the mesh where we would be modeling on. This is the guide mesh, so-called guide mesh, and this is the mesh we would be projecting onto. They are almost identical, right? I just added support loops here. So if you know this workflow, you also know that the guide mesh should have twice as much subdivision levels than this mesh. This mesh would be subdivided 2 times, and this guide mesh should be subdivided 4 times, right? So normally you need to do these motions, right? Increase subdivision level to 4, and then set polygon type to Catmull Clark or subdivision or whatever. In our case, we need Catmull Clark because we need sharp corners and borders. Okay, but actually we don't need to do this. The assembly would do everything for us, so a little bit of saved time for us. I've originally learned this technique in master car creation in a tutorial, master car creation in Blender tutorial, and I've imported it to MODO and I enhanced it, and this assembly is pretty effective because before I was like creating surface constraint, then thicken, then we need to subdivide, we need again surface constraint to constrain both the front and the back wall, and also the middle loop, and God know what else. So this assembly does almost everything for us. So let's see it in action. Let's plug guide mesh into the sources channel of this assembly, and let's add this. Let's hide guide mesh. So what first we must create project selection set. Actually, I could do a command that just sets whatever polygon is selected to this selection set, and don't do extra step like typing in the name. I'll do it someone in the future. Even if you want all the mesh projected, you still need to assign it to selection set because some features won't work, right? And we have our panel, right? You see it. So now let's make some bizarre cutouts, right? Let's do it, right? And let's exclude it from selection set. So yeah, and see what we've got, right? Perfect reflections. Now, for example, we would like to add some support loops. The only thing we don't want is condensed geometry. I recommend you to space out everything as much evenly as you can. Let's, for example, add some loops just to demonstrate you what would happen if we want to do that. So actually not, it won't do that much harm, but anyways, sometimes you can have some harm from this. Let's do this. Also, this workflow gives you triangles. You have all quad mesh on the end of this assembly, and also end-ons. It also forgives. Of course, it isn't that perfect, right? But still pretty decent. And let's of course set polygon type. Yeah, you see some stars here, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Let's go through the channels, right? You can choose whether you want to delete the back faces or not. Then I for example want, and you can decide how much steps, right, to delete. And then we can regulate the profile of the rims. As you see, rectangular profiles aren't that beautiful, and on the cars we usually have, you know, rounded profiles. They are pretty good. Of course, you see we have this loop that goes through here, and let's do it like this, and it would improve the situation. Yeah, it improved, it did this. So next you have you can choose the projection mode. We have y-axis like going vertical, so this projection method also will work for us. But if there is no definitive axis that you are projecting it, I don't know, to or by this axis, right? So if there is no one axis which would decide how everything would be projected, I recommend choosing closest, right? And then you can offset it from the surface of the guide mesh. So let's choose 10 millimeters, and you see, right? It don't just moves it offsets it from the mesh, from the guide mesh, right? Of course you can regulate thickness like 4 millimeters. Yeah. And what else? And these two channels I don't ever use. Standard channels from the surface constraint modifier mesh up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Also I recommend you put in support loops on the borders. Yes, because without them the profile would be kind of there isn't such gradual curvature on the car panels rims, so I recommend switching it on. And yeah, if you like this procedural tool, you can find it on the Gumroad. The link would be in the video description, and I would be glad if this would enhance your workflow. and you of course can donate me. Um, so thank you for your attention and take care.